What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer, checking out Spiritual Beast today, or Ritual Beast, as they're probably more known, but that's kind of why I'm making this video, because, well, first, I had made a community post. If you guys don't know, I can make those now. Suggested, what decks have I not played on the channel that you'd like to see, and somebody said Ritual Beast, so I'm finally getting around to it. But before I do, gameplay videos for it, I want to explain, how the deck works. Now, I found this combo in a video. I will link that in the description. The guy, knows Ritual Beast like pretty much no other person I've ever found on the internet. But he was kind of speaking to an audience that already knew what these cards did for the most part. And he was kind of showing an updated combo list with some new stuff. Because Kanahawk was taken off the ban list a while ago. This is kind of like a year ago. In any case, I'm going to take the same combo that he showed in that video. And I'm going to slow it down way more. And just kind of show you what these cards do, where the advantage comes from, and then I'll talk about the deck probably just a little bit at the end. So, Kanahawk and Elder are by far the best cards in the deck. This card says you get to normal summon a Ritual Beast monster in addition to your normal summon, which is very important because you have to get 2 Ritual Beast on the board, or else you literally can't play. And the way that the deck is set up now, it's if you don't open Elder, well, it's done. You just can't really play all that well. You can't really do much, right? So yeah, we'll go ahead and get started here, and I'll talk about these loops that you go through. Yep, we get that additional normal summon. We're gonna go for Kanahawk, which is also a really good card. Lets you banish a Ritual Beast card from your deck face up, which is great because you want to send a lot of cards to the banish pile. That is huge, because you're going to want to tag all this stuff out to special summon to get advantage. We'll go over that in a moment. Also, this is a soft once per turn, meaning when you special summon it back, it can only be special summoned once. But you get the normal summon banish, and then when you special summon it back, you get to banish again, which is a very important interaction for the most part. So we're going to go ahead and banish the Rempengu. I think I mentioned this at the beginning of the video, but yeah, there's Ritual Beast and there's Spiritual Beast. You need both types to be sent to the banish pile. So keep that in mind. It's the same archetype, but very different because the ritual monsters require you to special summon one of each type to it. So we're going to go ahead and banish the Rempengu. Now, if you guys don't know, Ritual Beasts are all about contact fusing. So this requires a Tamer and a Spiritual Beast monster like I just talked about. And this is a card that was on the ban list for so long, or I think limited. I don't know if it was ever banned completely. It must be special summon by tagging, basically. You can target 2 of your banished Ritual Beast cards, return them to the graveyard, and if you do, add 1 Ritual Beast card from your deck to your hand. It's a searcher for the entire archetype, monsters, spells, whatever. And then during either player's turn, you can turn this card you control to the extra deck, then target 2 of your banished monsters, 1 of each, special summon them in defense position. As you might imagine, you can actually use both effects in the same breath, meaning you're going to special summon 1 back and search. So that is the the loop. That is where you get the card advantage. Normally, if you just use the effect, right, you're just returning to Ritual Beast monster to search a card, which is obviously not very good. Well, it's decent as an Omni Searcher, but you don't want to have Omni Searchers in the extra deck. That's just kind of silly, meaning that you're going to tag both of them. So I'll explain how this works a little bit, and it'll make a little more sense if you show it. Alright, we're going to use the effect to target 2 banished, return them to the graveyard. So we're going to target the Rempengu and the Kanahawk. Okay, then we're going to tag the effect to special summon, to, tag itself out and return 2 to the graveyard. Alright, so basically, instead of returning 2 to the graveyard, you're only returning 1. And this is an important interaction because the one that you sent to the graveyard, there is going to be a way to special summon it a little bit later. So now we're searching. So we've just gone +1 in card advantage, and we also sent the Kanahawk. Because later on, you want to be able to special summon the Kanahawk back from the graveyard to use its banish effect again. Because, like I've been talking about, you want to send a Spiritual Beast and the Ritual Beast, and you want to banish as many as possible. So because these can all only be special summoned 1 time, that's the limitation. So you have to really think about your resources. What am I sending to the graveyard? Because one of the targets that you send to the graveyard has to be one of the targets that you special summon. If you decide to send 2 to the graveyard that have already been special summoned, then you've just messed up your entire loop. So keep that in mind. So now we special summon Elder, and we've also special summoned the Rempengu. Rempengu has an effect, which I'm sure will be activated here. So we're going to go ahead and banish a Ritual Beast monster from your extra deck and send 1 Ritual Beast monster with the same type as that monster from your deck to the graveyard. Pretty cool because This effect is actually really great because could be one of the fodder you send to the graveyard, right? You're in a special summon the other one, and you're going to send one to the graveyard. This just helps you keep up that card advantage and make sure you always have something to special summon, and there's always something you can throw into the graveyard that you don't need. And then we're going to Foolish Burial, a Spiritual Beast, a Paleo. We'll talk about that effect in just a moment. But now we can go into the Link 2. I don't know when this came out necessarily, but Ritual Beast monster, this card points to you gain 600 attack and defense, which is actually pretty nice. If you guys watch my videos on the channel, you know I love when secondary effects are attack boost. I think those are some of the best cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because they really actually do make a difference, but they have to have good effects too, right? Anyways, you can banish a ritual card from your graveyard, which is sick, right? Because we can banish one of these that we haven't special summoned yet, and then we also get an additional normal summon. Also, during your opponent's turn, you can turn this card you control to the graveyard and target 2 of your banished monsters, a Tamer and a Spiritual Beast, special summon in the defense position. Basically, all of the monsters in the Ritual Beast archetype have this same effect. So we're going to go ahead and banish the Apaleo. Again, thinking about those resources, haven't special summoned it yet. And we're going to go ahead and go for the normal summon. We searched this Laura, by the way. I don't think I mentioned that, excuse me. So the Kanahawk, tagged itself out to search a Ritual Beast card from deck to hand. And that's going to be Laura because it special summons a monster from the graveyard, which is important because now that means we can go into another Kanahawk. There's one other Ritual Beast monster that also special summons from the graveyard. It's like a pendulum monster, but Laura's fine. It does the same exact thing. Okay, we're going to go ahead and normal summon back the Kanahawk, like I've been talking about. We can use the effect to banish again. And this time we're going to spend a Spiritual Beast, Tamer Winda, which is pretty neat, right? Now we can, oops, sorry about that. Now we can tag these into a Kanahawk. Again, not a once per turn at all. And we're going to target 2. So, like I said, you want to send this to the graveyard, right? So you can keep using those ones you haven't special summoned. This hasn't been special summoned, this hasn't been, and this hasn't been, obviously. Okay, so we can go ahead and tag it out, use the effect again, and we're going to target one of the monsters that we were going to send to the graveyard and special summon it. So we're going to have the Apaleo and now the Laura. And now we can search a card here, and that's going to be the first form of removal. This is the best card in the deck. This is like the powerhouse card. I think this deck needs a lot more cards. It's crazy they haven't had a lot of support recently, in my opinion. But if you control a Ritual Beast monster, destroy monsters on the field up to the number of Ritual Beast monsters you currently control. As you might imagine, you can use Kanahawk's effect and the Link monsters effect. So you'll have 4 monsters during your turn, meaning you have 4 pops. And we're going to be searching multiple steeds during this turn, meaning that we have multiple, like 4 monster pops. Now we can use a Paleo's effect. You can banish a Ritual Beast card from your graveyard for the rest of the turn. All Ritual Beast monsters you control gain 500 attack. That's pretty neat, but not super duper important, that secondary effect. And we can go ahead and banish the Rempengu. It'll probably just be fodder, for sending it to the graveyard. Now we can bring back Kanahawk, as you might imagine. Use Kanahawk's effect, target 2, so we can target the Rempengu and the Kanahawk. And at this point, we don't have any more to special summon, right? We special summon all of these monsters. But we do have the 2 steeds now, so we have 2 4 pops, which is cool. Now we can set those past turn, and then I'll show you just how it works, why not. Actually, like the way that I did this combo is kind of important because some of these have decent effects on the field, especially when it comes to Winda, because when it's destroyed by battle, you get to freely special summon a Ritual Beast extra deck monster. They don't have that many great targets, but in theory, it's actually very good, right? Because if they get over the Winda, then they're dealing with something else. If they activate Darkhold, they have to deal with something else, right? Now, during our opponent's turn, they're going to try to normal summon, right? We can bring these 2 back. Alright, which is pretty cool. And, they're going to try to do some stuff. And then when this card is, during either player's turn, right? So all of them are going to gain 500 attack, which is pretty cool. So this is actually going to get boosted pretty well in terms of attack points. And, yeah, that's pretty nice, actually. And then we can use the Link monsters effect to special summon 2 more back, which is nice. And all of these, are pretty cool, right? So I'm gonna maybe pop their field or something for the first time. Obviously, this is like a mirror. It's the same hand, but yeah. So that's pretty neat. That is the combo. I hopefully kind of helped you out if you don't know what these cards do. I may do a gameplay video for this. I'm kind of on the edge. It's like the only thing the deck can do is pop cards now. Is popping cards very good? It sure is. It's like quite incredible. But it is only monsters. They do have an Omni Negate technically, but it's not that good. You have to, well, it's an Omni Negate, so a spell trap or a monster negate. You have to banish a ritual card from your hand, which could be follow-up play for sure, but it's like, I should be able to banish any card from my hand for an Omni Negate, you know? And also, the worst part about it is this card is also super limited because, like I talked about, you know, Winda special summons any of them, but this Omni Negate effect is only if it's properly special summoned, so this card's kind of useless on the extra deck. Like, there needs to be way more extra deck monsters. There needs to be more traps, maybe spell and trap negates, even if it's a once per turn. This is, like, to me, a worse version of Infernity. It is interesting, and I think there's a ton of potential here, obviously, with these loops, but until it gets, like, more modern support outside of just Steeds, it's just going to struggle for the most part. And also, it's not very consistent either. You know, the Pot of cards certainly do help a little bit. You know, you can play Pot of Extravagance or the other one that came out. I can't think of the name off the top of my head, to kind of, like, make it happen a little bit, but one more wave of support, I think, would actually make this deck pretty viable, or at least decent enough. But yeah, other than that, that's going to do it for today's video, and I will see you guys next time.